I'll tell you what, you got your wish. Your daughter succumbed to her injuries, and she passed away at the hospital.
This is the moment Woo Jin Hahn realizes his daughter, 5-year-old Soo Jin, is no more. However, the most twisted thing is that behind those tears is actually a monster, and his girlfriend was about to reveal it all.
I saw him pick her up like against the wall and punch her in the stomach, holding her up in the corner like with one hand like that, and the other hand I saw him punch her.
But Woo Jin had his own blame game planned out.
What kind of things does Cierra do to discipline her?
I told you to knock it off. I'm sick of her.
Their statements were disturbing, and the torture Soo Jin had suffered was inhumane. But the couple is now more interested in throwing each other under the bus and in crafting a twisted story. However, soon enough, Woo Jin and Cierra's game of manipulation and their lies were about to crumble. The tragedy becomes clear to authorities on May 29, 2025 at 11:15 a.m. when Woo Jin Hahn places a call to 911.
911, what are you reporting?
Hi, I think I have an emergency. So my daughter is she's 5 years old and she stopped breathing.
Okay, so we need to start CPR.
Yes, I'm performing.
When responders arrive, they find 3 children, 2 of them Cierra's biological children, and the third Woo Jin's older daughter. When they open the bathroom door, Soo Jin is found unresponsive and rushed to the hospital. Detectives then separate Woo Jin and Cierra for questioning, and with each interview, layers of the hidden story begin to peel away, exposing horrifying details one by one.
So you said that it's obviously been stressful with the kids being sick. Right. So tell me, how is this, when you say it's been stressful, tell me what that means for you. What is that?
Sleepless nights.
Okay.
I had it set for 2 days prior to leading up to today, and and then given our rental and financial situation, it was like I had to get enough sleep, whereas my partner had to work, and it was just very hard to manage a lot of things.
Okay. Okay. So when I asked you what brought you in to meet with me today, you said your daughter's welfare. What specifically did you mean by your daughter's welfare? What's going on with your daughter?
No, I said my daughter's well-being.
Okay, well-being. Okay, so what did you mean by your daughter's well-being?
Because this morning when I checked on her, she was having difficulty breathing.
Okay. And help me, when you say difficulty breathing, what was it that was going on?
Just short, laborious breaths, and I noticed when it stopped, that's when I just called the paramedics.
Okay. When did you first notice that she was having that difficulty?
Around 11 o'clock this morning.
Okay. And you described them as short, laborious breaths? Anything else that you noticed going on around that time? Okay. And then you said you noticed she stopped breathing. Okay. And when did you notice that?
11:15.
11:15? 11:15 this morning? Okay. And what was the very next thing that you did when you noticed that she stopped breathing?
Called the paramedics.
And then what happened?
I was instructed to do CPR.
And then what happened after that?
Once I conducted the CPR, the officers came in.
Woo Jin doesn't even know if his daughter is alive, yet his calm demeanor stands out. He recalls every detail, down to the exact times, but for now, detectives hold that observation in the back of their minds. In the other room, Cierra is being questioned, and investigators are about to uncover the first key piece of information.
Today, I don't really know a lot of what happened. I was at work since I clocked in at 3 this morning, and I got home probably around 12:30. And I was just kind of like in my room, kind of unwinding from work for a little bit, and then he called me in there and said, "Open the doors for the paramedics." And that's
and who's he? I'm sorry.
Woo Jin.
Woo Jin. Okay.
Yeah.
And who's Woo Jin to you?
Boyfriend, but right now I'm looking into getting a protection order against him because I just found out that he hit my kids as well. Like, they just told me as we're sitting in this room, so I'm really not not okay with him right now at all.
Yeah. So a boyfriend, but right now some bad stuff happened that you.
Yeah, it's no more.
No more.
Yeah.
Okay. As of today.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start off with, you said you got off at work at what time again?
A little bit after 12, maybe like 12:10 around.
12:10. Mm-hmm. And then you came home, and tell me what happened then. Everything that happened when you got home.
When I got home, I just, I don't know, I just like went into my room and did like what I usually do. Get my work clothes off, and I got like some food from the kitchen that I brought from work because I was going to eat lunch real quick. And that's about it. I was just eating and just kind of sitting there watching TV for a minute.
Okay. And then what happened?
And then I heard him calling for me from the other room, so I went in there and he was like, "Open the door for the paramedics." So yeah, I just went to the door and waited for them to come in.
Okay. And did he say what was wrong besides just open the door for the paramedics?
I saw him giving CPR to Soo Jin, so I did something with her.
Okay. So tell me about what you observed today.
When I walked in there, she wasn't moving, and she had her eyes open, and he was giving her CPR. Mm-hmm. That's all I saw her today.
Did he say anything else to you, or?
No, he was just crying and like trying to help her and telling me to open the door.
Okay. And then what happened?
That's it. I opened the door and let the paramedics in, and I went and got my kids because I was scared and took them into the room so they don't see whatever's happening.
Yeah.
And I just shut the door and stayed in there.
Cierra suddenly claims she has been planning to end the relationship, a statement that surfaces at a very convenient moment. It raises the possibility that she's trying to distance herself, shifting the focus onto Woo Jin in an effort to protect herself. But at the same time, it's hard to ignore that Cierra, a mother of 2 and responsible for Woo Jin's children as well, never bothered to check on them after getting home. But this is only the beginning. Now it is Woo Jin's turn to share the details that were weighing on him.
When you say that you were feeling stressed out those past couple of days with the kids being sick, what does stress typically feel like for you?
It's like constantly worrying all the damn time, and just constantly worrying. Anxiety. I can't enjoy any hobby until I see that they're 100% fine.
Okay. And then you said you guys also had some financial issues going on?
Yes.
Okay, help me understand what's going on with that.
I've been struggling to find work for the past 5 months.
Okay.
I've been unemployed, and I've been trying to find work to help out my girlfriend. But it's just one hiccup after hiccup.
Okay.
Whether it's financial battles, kids being sick, or my girlfriend is possible divorce, ex-husband contacting us. It's just drama after drama after drama.
They are divorced, like it is her ex-husband. Okay, he's a problem.
How he's a problem is he will contact, "No, here's my girlfriend," very emotional and not feeling supported to partake in any activity because she just met someone in the past. So here I am, taking care of all the other kids, trying to pretend like none of this happened. And it's like I'm already looking at her like, I really need to sleep.
Both partners frame themselves as the wronged one. And when love erodes and contempt sets in, empathy inevitably drops. During interrogations or crises, partners may exaggerate or highlight each other's dark side to deflect suspicion or moral blame or responsibility. In high-stress households, children often become emotional collateral, and this case wasn't any different. And now, Cierra is about to make her next move in this game of chess, revealing information that could be deeply troubling for Woo Jin.
So how's everything been at the house lately?
Not good.
What's that?
Not good.
Okay, tell me about that.
Just like Woo Jin kind of out of control. I saw him hurting Jin yesterday. Like, I don't know. And I guess he hit my kids as well, and they all just, as we were sitting in here, they told me that and showed me a mark on their arms. Like, I didn't know about it until now, so I'm just, I don't know. He's out of control, and it was pretty, I don't know.
So tell me what he looks like when he's out of control.
I don't know. He can be like scary, like I don't know, a lot of things like I haven't witnessed him do with my eyes, but I have seen him like get mad and he'll punch holes through the wall. He has to me before, which I've reported to the police. He's also, hit my kids in the past, and that's been reported as well. And it's just, yeah, he just, I guess, likes to hit and be violent, I guess, if he gets mad or upset. And it's like if he decides not to be violent, he will lecture people for a very long time. He does that with my children quite often, like just lecturing them for hours on end, and I don't know.
Okay. And your parents said that they were hit today?
They said it happened last night during dinner time.
Okay. Tell me what your children told you today. What you just found out, I guess.
So I was eating dinner in the room by myself, and he made a separate dinner for the kids because they weren't feeling well. They all had stomach issues, so he made them like soup or something. And I guess because they're not feeling well, they weren't eating properly, and he was getting upset about it. And my kids told me that he smacked them, and they said that he hit them with a cup. So.
What kind of cup?
I don't know.
Okay. And when they say hit, do they describe the hitting at all, or?
No.
Cierra begins with, I don't know, but then launches into a detailed description of Woo Jin's personality. What stands out, though, is that she claims she was never present when any of those incidents happened. For detectives, that's not enough. Before drawing conclusions, they need specifics about that night. And now it's Woo Jin's turn to explain what happened.
Everything that you're going on, because I will give it to you. This is a lot. What does she have? Obviously, like we've talked about, she's not responding to her name. Are there other do we have like disciplinary issues? Are there other behavioral issues? Is she acting out, like the jumping around, the somersaults, all of the like craziness that you were kind of talking about this morning? Do we have like behavioral issues? Okay, help me understand those.
If I tell her to knock off something, she'll do something that's life-threatening sometimes. Like she'll either touch outlets, and
Okay.
I don't think she responds to like anger or like me going like no. So it's like I have to but
Okay.
obviously it's escalated to the point to do something harder, so she obviously knows.
Okay. So she's not as responsive to like a verbal direction.
Yes.
You feel like she's more responsive to like a physical correction.
Yes.
Okay. So when you are going to physically correct her, what types of things do you do?
I just smack her hand, or I'll just smack.
Okay. Did any of that take place recently?
Last night.
Okay. Walk me through what happened last night.
She was very struggling to eat dinner, and just every behavior, just drink water and would not eat the solids
Okay.
because they claim that they're full because they drink the water. Every bite she takes, or other kids too, like when they eat something they claim they don't like, they try to vomit into their plate thinking we'll get them another food, thinking they'll. So,
Okay.
just, like water, vomiting, just not eating, taking forever to eat dinner, putting food on the table and sliding it down. It's gotten so out of hand, like my girlfriend doesn't want to sit at the table with them and deal with them, and I don't even want to sit at the table and deal with them. So like we just leave them there at the dinner table, like once we put the food there, but it just takes 2 hours and just chaos, mess everywhere, and it's just, and this is just us not being involved in screaming and pounding at them.
It's not ordinary for a parent to smack a child sometimes in order to discipline them. But what Woo Jin is saying is just the tip of the iceberg. Soo Jin showed cuts and lacerations all over her body, particularly on her head and face, and the autopsy was about to reveal some more gruesome injuries. This type of injury doesn't come from a mere smack on the hand, but only from extreme force used to hit. Going back to Cierra, she is now on the verge of revealing crucial details Woo Jin had meticulously hid up to this point.
So going back, you were saying something about you saw him hit yesterday.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. As much detail as you can.
Yeah, so pretty much she was on the toilet because she was having like stomach issues, diarrhea, and she wasn't sitting still on the toilet, like getting up, down, like making a mess. And he got mad. I saw him pick her up like against the wall and punch her in the stomach.
Pick her up and hold her.
Yeah,
Can you
like,
kind of show me like that wall there?
yes. Holding her up in the corner, like with one hand, like that, you know, and the other hand I saw him punch her, like in the gut, you know.
And how many times did he do that?
I don't know, probably 3 or 4 times.
Okay. And what did Sue do?
She was crying, and I don't know, I was scared. He told me to just go away, so that's what I did. And,
Sure.
yeah. I mean, I do know that was wrong. I should call the police, reported it.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
you were scared, so that's understandable.
Cierra has given detectives enough to start tightening the pressure on Woo Jin, watching to see if he slips, taking them closer to the truth. But Cierra herself is still not out of the equation yet, and the truth behind whether she was involved, too, was soon about to be exposed as well. For now, what stands out, though, is the absence of emotion. Neither parent shows real sadness or even asks about Soo Jin's condition. Instead, their focus is about to quickly shift to something else, and that is blaming each other.
Week or so, let's just say like for the last 7 days, has anyone else watched Ian? Has she been like sat by anyone else? Just you and Cierra? Has she been alone with anyone else? Any other adults? Any caretakers? Any sitters? Nothing. She doesn't go to school. She doesn't go to a doctor very often, right? Does she have a babysitter how often does she leave the apartment?
Whenever I go to the park or whenever I check the mail,
When was the last time she left the apartment?
before everybody got sick.
I don't want to mess anything up. And then I know you had mentioned maybe like the hours were kind of off or something. So just walk me through in your own words and try not to leave anything out. Just walk me through it.
Yeah, I won't, but like, I want to help with this. So from the time I called to the paramedics, that's 15 to 10 minutes before that, I made that phone call. That would be between 12:40 to 12:20ish, because Sierra was home when I made this phone call. So those time frames, like, forgive me on that. So, and again, like, this was my first time having a good sleep, like, as with all this happening. So, like, I'm still trying to, like, but this Soo Jin did wake up multiple times to let me know, like, hey, I'm up, like, got energy. And then, yes, I would put her back down, like, gently to let her go to sleep. And I even got one of my oldest daughter to help me, like I was changing her, and that's when I started noticing. And then that's when I told her to leave, and I made the phone call to the paramedics.
Okay.
Well, maybe what will make us understand better is when everything from this morning on, maybe not backwards, maybe start from this morning, like when you first remember waking up, or...
So I woke up, she jumped because she woke me up. I put her back down, so she goes back to sleep. I take my little power nap so I can go back to sleep again. I wake up again because she was flipping around, like banging on everything. I try just to ignore this because she's just probably gonna tire herself out and just go back to sleep. I wake up again. This time she was still asleep. So like I was just looking at her, thinking like she's finally like out of it. Like no more energy, like no more flipping around, none of this. So I was watching her. But then I decided to change her. Like, cause then that's when I called my oldest daughter to like help me, like, hey, can you bring me a second pamper? And she was watching her go do this, and that's when I noticed she wasn't really, she wasn't standing still, like, she wasn't having balance. So I was like, okay, something's off. So I told my daughter to leave. I put her back down after I gave her some Pedialyte, and then I kept a close watch on her for the 15 minutes, and that's when I noticed she stopped breathing, and then I panicked and I called paramedics.
Okay.
I understand there's a lot of time gaps, but the person that was closest to me, moments to leading up to that, was me.
Okay.
There will always be gaps in a made-up story, and this was no different. The real truth is something else entirely, and they're getting closer by the minute. But before any confession means anything, investigators have to lock down the facts, like how they cleared the fact that there was no one else there except for him and Sierra, being the only adults around. And then there's something even more troubling. This wasn't the first time Woo Jin's household had appeared in police records. The history stretches back to August 2020. Now, detectives are about to dig into that past, and what they find could change everything.
You met with the caseworker from CPS. What are some things that they told you? Like things that they told you might happen, or things that they told you, like concerns that they had, or like what are things that the caseworker talked to you about?
Just told me no hitting, especially something with a stick, no hitting.
The CPS report is that multiple doctors have tried to get a hold of you multiple times regarding some medical concerns for your daughter, and that it's documented that either you just hung up on the doctor or no-showed to appointments or refused to comply with medical care, and that you were, possibly being looked at for medical neglect. So When you say you don't really know what was wrong with her, I mean, it sounds like you didn't want to know what was wrong with her.
That's exactly what you just said.
Okay, well, it sounds like that's a huge point of a lot of your stress. So, like, why would you not want?
Because that's exactly how I found out with my wife.
Listening to doctors is how you found out.
Yes. I just didn't want, I think I wasn't ready for that hospital environment, the scenario, just reliving all that again. And this time alone.
Instead of confronting the warnings from CPS, he presents himself as overwhelmed, unsupported, and confused. Psychologically, this is classic deflection. The focus moves from, I chose to do this, to, I didn't know how to handle it. And along with that, he just subtly brought his wife into the conversation. Up to this point, he's worked hard to paint himself as a helpless, stressed father. But now, as the pressure tightens and his position weakens, he pivots again. This time, he is about to expose Cierra, preparing to reveal what he claims is her role in all of it.
Does Cierra ever discipline? Like,
Yes.
Does she ever discipline her?
Yes.
What kind of things does Cierra do to discipline her?
Same thing I do.
The same thing?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Right with her hand. I haven't physically watched her do it, but I can hear the sounds and I can hear my daughter screaming.
Okay. Tell me, what does it sound like?
I told you to knock it off. I'm sick of her.
Okay. Does Cierra discipline her own in that way?
No.
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 Why do you think she disciplines that way, but not her own kids that way?
Because I don't know. I really want to know what is the reason.
I feel like you probably have a suspicion, right? Like, what would your suspicion be?
Possible vendetta against my daughter?
Notice Woo Jin's expression when the topic shifts to Cierra's discipline. It's almost as if he's been waiting for that question. His eyes spark like a kid spotting candy in the checkout aisle, and within seconds, he puts Cierra in a place right beside him. At this point, Woo Jin may be thinking that if he's going down, he won't be going down alone. But the evidence is closing in, and Cierra's account of the story places him in an even darker position. All he can do now is hover at the edge of the truth, revealing just enough to survive the moment, but never the whole story.
This would happen with Soo, and you would get so frustrated. Like last night when all of this happened with the cup, or with tying her up and hitting her in the ribs and the cup and all of it. What were you hoping would happen? I mean, what were you hoping would be the outcome of beating her like that? I mean, what were you?
She just stops this bad behavior and she just does the right thing.
But what is the right thing? That she stops having diarrhea? I mean, how is beating her going to help her stop having diarrhea?
No, like stop like tilting the porta potty or like just simple bad behaviors.
But you said she doesn't even understand. She can't even comprehend how to respond to her own name. And so how? I guess what I'm failing to put together, and I'm not judging you, I'm trying to understand, because I'm not in your home every day. And so I just want to understand, okay? She's almost 6. And by 6, a lot of kids can talk. I'm sure you have another 6-year-old in your house. So you see the two of them side by side. You have to know there's a difference between the two. You know, one of them is still in diapers. One of them, I'm sure, has been potty trained for years. One of them is likely in school. One of them is not. One of them is probably having carrying on complete conversations in full sentences. One of them is using talk. One of them cannot even comprehend to respond to her own name. And yet, we're frustrated with her because she can't sit still on the potty, but she's 6 years old and still in diapers. And so when you say the point of the beating is to correct her bad behaviors, I'm asking you, as her father, did it ever occur to you as the adult in the situation who hasn't taken her to a doctor in 4 years, even though that CPS had a case against them for possible medical neglect, that maybe there is something actually physically and or mentally wrong with my child, that she can't help this. And so beating her for this, because I'm frustrated with her, is not going to make it better.
This time, the detective hits the mark, and for once, Woo Jin has no answer. The detective acted sympathetic till now, and Woo Jin thought he was soon about to walk out a free man. He had tried all his stories and his manipulative techniques, but it's funny to see him finally realize that nothing had worked. Tragically, cases involving the and death of mentally underdeveloped children are not rare. But what stands out here is the man sitting in that room showing no visible remorse, grief, or a sense of urgency. So now the detective decides to lay out the truth directly to see whether confronting him with the full weight of it will crack his calm and unempathetic personality.
I just wish that she would stop taking that and stop doing these bad behaviors. But again, I should have been more understanding.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. You got your wish.
What do you mean I got my wish?
Well, I'm very sorry to have to be the one to tell you this.
Oh. No. No.
Paramedics did everything that they could. Upon arrival at the hospital, your daughter succumbed to her injuries.
Oh my goodness.
And she passed away at the hospital. And I'm sorry, but she's gone.
Oh my God.
Detectives give him some time, and they wait. They wait to see whether it was guilt or just a performance. They give him the space, hoping something real might surface. But once he gains composure, they steer the conversation back to the day that mattered, the day Soo Jin was tied inside the bathroom. But this time, they are about to get an answer that Cierra was holding back all this time.
Speaking of Sierra, I'm just trying to, my partner here, we're trying to understand, looking back, she's trying to understand everything. And you had said that she disciplines also. Does that include hitting? Hitting how?
With her hand.
Okay. Has she ever used an object?
Not that I've seen, but.
Okay. And was she hitting Ian with her hand last night? When was she doing that?
Dinner table, and when she was tied up in the porta potty, we were just tired of cleaning the diarrhea.
Sure. Okay.
So
I'm sure you were both very frustrated at the time. And was she? Can you describe how she was hitting her?
just
Like with the closed fist too?
no, open palm.
Open palm. Where was she doing that on her?
The would vary where it lands.
Okay, so everywhere, face.
Wherever it lands.
Okay, well, I don't know. I wasn't there. You said wherever it lands. Like you saw where they landed. I wasn't there. And so they landed on her arms. Where else?
Body.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Face.
No face.
No, just
She would never hit the face.
hands and body.
She would never hit the face.
Okay. And had she done that before yesterday too? Like in discipline?
I think so, yes.
Okay, and so I'm just trying to picture your bathroom, how this would actually look. So, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, okay? Tell me if I'm wrong.
So if I'm going to use that door right there. So the pull-up bar was on the very top, and then her potty was in between the door. So she just goes like this.
Okay.
And the reason why she's tied up, and why I tied it to like this, so she can't like do this and this, or this. Like it's just to the point where she just can't.
Okay, that makes sense. I think I was picturing like an actual toilet with like the potty on it or something. And I was just trying to, how does physically that doesn't seem possible, but okay.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Woo Jin can still laugh. The difference is clear in his expression and that of the detectives. This is not a father sitting here, but a cold-blooded criminal who had just beaten his own daughter to death. And now the final details are about to surface, revealing the reality that the 5-year-old had been living with long before that final day.
So I first did this method thinking this would work, but then after like 3 successful diarrhea sessions, and remember, we didn't resort to thinking doing this first. It was like 3 diarrhea sessions. We tried to feed her something. She did eat, and it's like, okay, let's just let her process this maybe. Seems like we can't enjoy any activity because every 20 minutes she would just go off. So it's like, okay, so someone has to be with her, and here's these other kids going, hey, can you watch this, or hey, so-and-so threw it. I think we even lost it and told all the kids to stay in one room, and we took all the mattresses out, anything that's clothes, fabric, so the only thing we had to clean is just the carpets. Like, me and Sarah got so tired of all the cleaning up, like, we literally moved everything out just so they can just feel better.
Sure.
And then, so we resorted to that because it was just getting out of hand with the fecal, like just putting in her teeth, like rubbing in the walls, and just... After we did that, she started doing stuff with her feet, like trying to like kick stuff, and then Sarah resorted to tying her because she started doing this. And then she actually tipped the potty over, and Sarah's seeing the poo drip everywhere. She's like, and I'm like, that's okay, I got this, I'll clean it up. If anything, just how can we make her stay here without her making this mess? I even asked her, and she's in a state of panic. Obviously, it's not going to say anything nice, so let's just tie her
So it was her idea to tie her up.
in the legs. But I suggested, like, let's just tie the hands.
From his own words and reactions, detectives begin to piece together what likely happened inside that bathroom. The picture becomes clearer and darker. It's no longer just about Woo Jin. They now believe Cierra was present too, not intervening, but participating, hitting and even suggesting that Soo Jin be tied up.
What do you think killed her?
A lot of beatings from that side.
When you say the beatings from last night, where were you hitting her hard enough that you think, I mean, were you, the ribs, the chest, like where were you hitting her?
I think the ribs, maybe.
So they're going to do an autopsy on her. Okay. Like she was saying, they're going to find what if she has skull fractures, or what if she has something else? How would we account for that?
Or anything in her neck? Or that's what I'm asking you, is if there's anything else that you need to tell us right now, this would be the time to do that. Anything?
It doesn't have to be a punch or a kick or whatever. It could be anything. There's a lot of ways that little girl might have died. If it was, there's indications if something was obstructed her breathing. They're going to know that too. Are they going to see that? Not that you know of. You're a father, man. You got to take ownership of your kid. Okay? Alive or dead, you got to take ownership of your kid and what happened to her. So tell us right now what happened to her.
I don't know.
Huh?
With both their statements documented and evidence building, detectives call Cierra back in a week later for another round of questioning. By now, Cierra's position has shifted more than once, first a suspect, then leaning towards a witness, and now back under suspicion again. But this time, her demeanor is about to be different.
I don't want to know if he did anything that night when I wasn't there. I don't want to know.
And I apologize. Obviously, I'm not trying to make you upset, but my job is to get down to the truth of what happened to her, right?
Yeah.
And so I really, knowing him and his anger and his issues and everything else, it would be a big coincidence to me, you coming home at 12:30, her sleeping for like 16, 17 hours.
I agree with you.
Him telling you, don't go in there. And then half an hour later, he's on the phone to 911.
I feel like something happened that night when I was gone and I don't know what it was. Or that morning, I don't know.
Okay. What is your opinion? Do you think she was probably in that room? And do you think, if you had to guess, do you think she was probably dead in that room when you got home from work?
Knowing what I know now, maybe. I feel like maybe he did know something and he didn't want me to go in there. Or maybe he didn't want to believe it himself. I really don't know. But it is, I do think that because of him telling me don't go in the room. Because why else would he have said that? And I don't know, I honestly thought at the time it was because she was like sick and sleeping. I thought she was actually sleeping in because that's what he told me.
In her first interrogation, Cierra spoke calmly, even while describing how Woo Jin would beat the children. Now, for the first time, she shows emotion. Whether it's grief over what happened or fear now that she's back in the spotlight as a suspect is far less clear. But facts remain. Just like Cierra's statements go against Woo Jin, his statements go against Cierra as well. Finally, in June 2025, both individuals were subsequently arrested. Woo Jin Hahn was charged with first and second degree murder with bail set at $5 million, while Cierra Fischer was charged with first and third degree murder with bail set at $100,000. Both defendants have pleaded not guilty as the legal process continues. Do you think both of them were equally responsible? And if yes, what should be the final verdict?